15 acres, Thompson Falls, Montana. My name is Miles McLaughlin here at Wilco Land. What we do is we buy and sell raw land. Simple as that. We offer cash discounts for cash buyers and also seller financing terms too. So I'm going to walk you through this property. We offer more of a self-service land model. We're not there on site to show you the property. So we do have people do their own viewings. Make sure you're doing your own due diligence and things like that. So in this video, I'm going to walk through FAQs. I'm going to teach you how to go access the property on your own, how to use GPS coordinates to go access raw land like this, and just go through a couple common questions that I get in a lot of properties. So just looking at aerial imagery, I had one of my favorite photographers go out here. He took a lot of really good photos. It was in August this year, I think. So there was a lot of smoke going on up in northwest Montana this past summer. So just keep in mind the views are even better from the property than what we can see here. There is actually really good access. So a lot of these properties in Montana in the backwoods like this, you're going to run into challenging access, maybe rough road conditions or no road at all. You can see the road here is in great condition. So that's a huge selling point on this property is simply the access conditions. My second selling point here is going to be the location. This isn't just a world-class location in Montana. Sanders County, there's going to be no zoning restrictions. Talk about land of the free, right? Home of the brave, like this is no restrictions, right? So this is a county still. This is pretty rare. You don't see this across the United States very often, but there's no restrictions as to what a guy could do with his property, a guy or a girl could do with their property. So just kind of poking through some of these photos, I'll leave you guys to do that on your own time. So getting back to this, camping allowed, building is allowed, get creative. One of the highways in Montana, I saw a guy putting up a roller coaster on a property. I mean, it's just unbelievable. This was down by Flathead Lake. So I wouldn't do something like that here. This is a classic, like off-grid property. There is utilities nearby too, though. So it's not truly off-grid because there's going to be power lines nearby. And here's what I'm looking at. I'm just simply using GPS coordinates to plug in the property location in apps like Onyx Maps. So let me show you here, taking a step back, GPS coordinates. I'm going to hop in Onyx Maps and just plug those in. This is my favorite app to use for land viewings. You can see it's in a different name. This is who we bought the property from. This is adjacent to Lolo National Forest on multiple sides. So on the north and south end of this property is going to be over 200,000 acres of Lolo National Forest here in Sanders County. So nobody's building behind you. Nobody's building down below you. This is all connecting here to, as I zoom out, this is a small little chunk of private land ownership, another small chunk. The rest of this is national forest, right? So we've got a lookout tower up here, driveway peak. You can see as I zoom out, we're in the Coeur d'Alene Mountains. This is Thompson Falls just over here. So I also have these coordinates pulled up on Google Maps to show you what we're looking at. So we've got Thompson Falls right here. We've got this highway coming in through here. It's a secondary highway, 471, the Wild Coyote Saloon. So again, it is just backwoods Montana here. We're really close to the Idaho border. So if we skip across the border, that'll bring us down to I-90. They're skiing here, Lookout Pass. In I think Kellogg, Montana or Idaho here along 90, like in Mulan, Kellogg area. So that's going to be Lookout Pass. I think I even have it pinned here. So you've got a ski and recreational area. You've got St. Regis, a big landing point for people traveling 90 going east and west. And then again, you've got Thompson Falls here. That'll bring you up to Lake Pend Oreille and Clark Fork. This will bring you over to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So we're in a really central location to a lot of world-class location, both east, south, and north here. We're not that far from Missoula either. So just to skip away from Missoula. So the location really here is a huge selling point. Being adjacent to the national forest is another huge selling point. Then lastly, there's no zoning restrictions. Build what you want to build. Develop this how you want to develop it, or just go up there and camp. Bring an RV, bring a pop-up camper, things like that. Taxes are low on the property as well. So when it comes to utilities, I was going to show you this. You can download the Google Earth file here, and it'll show the property outlines. But what I want to get to is showing you guys, like, what do I see in the property? Like, what can I do with it? What's the topography look like? So there's a pretty steep section right here. It levels out down here at the bottom. This is a pretty cool section. And then these roads are coming up here. These were all old mining claims, right? At one point in time, probably not many valuable minerals back here, but this is that road going through the property, right? So here's your road access. It cuts through the property. I'm assuming other people are using this road access. Other properties have this going through it. But you can see what I was kind of trying to show you here. Have other people developed? What is a sign? People will ask, how deep is a well? Call maybe a local well driller. I don't know that answer. I don't have that crystal ball. Nobody probably does. But you can see if I zoom in, this person's developed. There's people like with off-grid structures back here. So as I zoom in, what I'm looking for is structure here on these maps. And I can see that, somebody's built this type of cool yurt or like off-grid structure. How cool is this? I bet this has world-class views. So, and that's the same with our property. Like this isn't, a classic, like I'm going to bring my builder out here. I mean, this is backwoods Montana. And so there's a bunch of flatter area up in this section of the property as I'm circling here. This ridge line is really cool. Your views are going to be unobstructed looking south from this property. So, looking into the south here, you're going to have unobstructed views of Granite Peak and things like that. So this property is going to offer and boast some really great views. You can see that in the photography from our photographer. And there's a lot of areas to develop on the property. You can see other people are doing it on similar properties. So clearly somebody's accessing something up here. So I'm going to follow this ridge line and see where this goes. Looks like maybe it just goes into the national forest. But again, without getting too crazy and wild here, on Google Earth, we can see other people. I'm just looking for signs of other people developing. It looks like down here they are. You see some development, some cars. Here's a home right here. So these folks were able to develop on their properties, right? Off-grid structures, whether they have power or not, there's going to be options for a person on these type of properties. So again, when it comes to power, water, septic, that's going to be on you, the buyer. First and foremost, we're pricing this as a recreational property. Obviously, it has building potential. There aren't any restrictions. When it comes to getting power to the property, putting a well in and put a septic system in, that's going to have to be some homework on your end. Contact power companies. Look into alternative methods, solar, generators. Go take a drive out here. How close is the nearest power lines? Are you seeing like utility boxes anywhere nearby? Right? So think about those things. If you drive by one of these homes or one of these cabins on your way out there, are they connected to power? So that's kind of getting into the weeds of due diligence. Call a local well company, call a local septic company, see if they'll work with you on something like this. So even a local realtor might be able to offer some suggestions, or a title company. So that's what I've got. I've got 15 acres out here, and I think a really special area of Montana. We've got some good photos on the property. You can even see street views down here. Simply use GPS coordinates to access. I walk through some of the roads going to the property. Again, you're going to use GPS coordinates. I like using Onyx Maps, downloading the offline version and looking at this property. So again, you're viewing it on your own. You're using GPS coordinates. You're using natural features in the landscape to identify where you're at, right? These are street views. If I exit this and you get to the property, you can see when you get to the property, if you're not using Onyx Maps, you have this ridge line here and this road kind of V'ing through it. Okay, you have this whole section up here that's your property, right? And then you go down south. This is all your property too. So to view it, you're using natural features in the landscape. Is there something you can identify nearby the property to help identify maybe a corner or where the property's at? Otherwise, use Onyx Maps. I've got a tutorial on how to use it on the website. But these property lines will show up when you're walking the property. There's a creek running through this section too. Just an FYI, you've got a creek running through this bottom section of the property. So, that's the details on this 15 acre. I got into the weeds a little bit at the end of the video, but hopefully that answers some FAQs. My photographer has a bunch of videos that we posted here. My blog on how to use Onyx Maps is posted in this tutorial right here. And if you have any questions, give me a call, 605-250-1256. Thanks for tuning in.